Hi, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Catherine. I am so excited to have with me two fabulous ladies. Mary Rabago is an Emmy Award-winning former Univision news anchor who now runs her own production company. Yay! And Marcela Lopez is the Access ASU Executive Director of Outreach. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having us.
For inviting us.
Well, I'm really excited to talk to you about something in particular that you are collaborating on because it's really special and it's incredibly important. You have launched a series of new bilingual resources for prospective ASU students via Facebook. That includes weekly broadcasts that you host together in Spanish at noon every Wednesday. You just finished doing one. How is it going?
Thank you, Mari. I think it's going terrific. It's ASU's commitment to continue to reach out to our families, even during these COVID times, of how do we bring access to what's already happening, resources within the university, but bring them in an area where they feel comfortable and able to gather in a language that they feel most comfortable with.
And for me, Catherine, I'm sorry. For me, it's an exciting time because collaborating with ASU, particularly American Dream Academy, when I opened my company, the marketing agency, Mary Rabago Productions, this was the vision because it's bringing resources, news you can use to the community, right? Like I mentioned many times, and you know my story, I got tired of giving headlines in the community and the newscast, and I wanted to give more education about the topics that we really need. Being an immigrant, being a dreamer also, being a mother, I can relate to all those needs in my community, and it was just a perfect match. So when, you know, El Mundo Hidalgo reached out to me, I was like, yeah, jumping up and down, excited because it was just the perfect fit. And I've been very excited to see the growth in the engagement with the community, with American Dream Academy through our conversation. And that is what or how we reach the community. The Latino community, the buying power, it's unlimited, but we need to educate our community about the resources, services, and products, and this is a perfect example, so.
Well, and I know you have long been committed to being that bridge of information for the community, so having you involved in this just makes such perfect sense. You know, applying for college, it's been so long since I did, but I know it was difficult, and now having gone through it twice with my own kids, it can be very complicated, it can be very confusing, and I can't imagine someone trying to figure it out if they don't speak the language or they don't understand the process. So this is so incredibly valuable. How many bilingual families and students have you been able to reach through this broadcast?
Mari, do you mind if I defer this question to you? Because we're going to have a full report tomorrow.
Yes, so it's unbelievable, and this is why I love social media. As much as I break my head every day trying to go through the changes that we were just talking a minute ago, when I started my show con Mary Rabago, that back in the day I had it in TV, I had it in radio, and I was, I believe, the first one in the Valley to do it on social media platforms. It made sense because it was one more avenue. So if you go to the numbers and you see that Latinos are on Facebook all the time, it doesn't matter what age, from my parents that they're 65 plus to, you know, moms our age or younger generations, they're still on Facebook. That's where they connect with their loved ones. That's where they gather their information, their news. It's been hundreds of thousands of families, because the beauty of this in the program, American Dream Academy, they don't only help people in the community or in Arizona. I mean, this resource is for any family in the United States or abroad, south of the border. So this was just a perfect match when it came to collaboration. And if you see the excitement in my voice, I ask you to forgive me for it, but it's like a dream come true. Since we're talking about American Dream Academy, a way that I can bring resources without boundaries. And that's exactly what this collaboration does. So I know we have reached hundreds of thousands of families. The comments that we get on the hundreds, the likes, the shares. Just to give you an idea, the reach that we have monthly is between 1.6 million to 2.3 million, and only on my platform. So that is the reach that we're sharing with customers as American Dream Academy or ASU. And there's no limitations. There's people in Sonora and Chihuahua and parts of Mexico that want to send their kids to ASU. So that is the beauty of it. I saw your son is already a member of ASU. Catherine, I saw that picture and it was funny because my youngest son is only 14 and we went shopping and he wanted already a jacket from ASU. So their mentality is already there. And I know it's the same thing that is going on in many households, not only in Arizona or United States, but, south of the border as we educate them about this possibility.
Mm-hmm. And Marcela, what does that say to you when you hear numbers like that of the amount of people this is touching and who are responding? What does that say to you about the number of people who really value getting these kinds of resources and information in a language that is their own?
Right. And I'll share a little bit of backstory with you, Catherine. We started with family orientation. So early on in the summer of how do we reach out to families, because in a traditional format, we would have welcomed them on campus. So we hosted a Spanish orientation for families, and we started to see a large turnout of families just interested in learning that peer-to-peer in their native language, understanding culturally relevant to them. And then also cafecito, so an opportunity to sit with parents around coffee at their comfort of their home and learning from other parents. So in a traditional format, the American Dream Academy has seen around 44,000 parents. That is in-person 8-week sessions that parents participated. We know COVID came and it's the virtual setting that, as Mari shared, it is now open, the scale, there is no limit, there is no ratio to staff, because we are really being able to continue our mission of how do we serve our communities based on their needs. For me, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time to be able to say, I'm still able to connect with our families in a setting where they feel most comfortable. If there was something I learned in those first orientation Spanish sessions is I had a parent who joined the entire session on an audio and never saw the screen, but was committed to hearing 2 hours and no visuals. So for me, it was, where do I meet that parent where they feel most comfortable? So now when I hear the numbers, when we see the likes, the shares, the random phone calls on Sundays, our community is hungry for knowledge, and I'm very happy to be sitting with Mari, who is very trusted and respected among our community, and help us bridge those resources to them.
Well, and timing is everything, as they say, and the fact that we are confined to our homes more or less with COVID, it's just the perfect opportunity for something like this. It's called, I should mention your broadcast, ASU en Español, on Facebook. Why did you choose Facebook in particular? Was there a specific reason for that?
We felt that that's where our families felt most comfortable. And as I shared with you during our orientation piece, we had a Zoom meeting, we had registrations, we had all those pieces. And unfortunately, we had a smaller number of attendants because they were not, we made them go through a registration. They were not sure, unfamiliar to the Zoom setting. I think even as a professional in an area where we're used to this environment, it took some time to adjust. So I can't imagine being a parent who never has interacted with Zoom. So Facebook, for me, we saw the research, we saw, Mari said, that's where our community lives right now. This is where they're gathering information. So we met them where they were at. And for us, that was Facebook.
Mm-hmm. That's so important. When you talk about the families that you're able to reach, how would you describe them? Are the majority of those families first generation families and students?
I would definitely describe them as first generation, monolingual Spanish speaking, and even across the we hosted a future Sun Devil Family Day, which would have been hosted in person on a virtual setting that tailored to Spanish and English. And even then, you found families who were on the Spanish side saying, I'm looking for information on the English. And so we would direct them to the Access ASU page. So I think for me, it's the importance of wherever you are, whatever language you're looking for, how do we connect with you? How do we either utilize the resources that already exist within the institution at ASU for those resources for our families?
If I may add something else on that, Catherine, it's very important for people to understand, and I think that's one of the things that I applaud from the leadership of American Dream Academy and ASU, that they're willing to learn and listen. So for my community, 27 years educating them and informing them, is very important for corporate America to understand that you have to go to where they gather. It's not practical to make them come to where you want to. Like ASU understood, American Dream Academy heard me when I did a presentation, said, our Latinos are in Facebook. You may have all these other platforms, but that's where you're going to find them. That's where they gather together as a family. That's the virtual connection right now. And even though we might be bilingual, as myself, I prefer to get the information in Spanish. So a lot of parents in my age group that might be second generation, and they fully bilingual, they still want to get their information in Spanish. So that is so important of knowing your target market and knowing what part of the community. As I say in my presentations, we Latinos are complicated. We're several generations difference. We don't think alike. We might be dark skin, black hair. We might look Latinos, but we are different. And the three of us is a perfect, example of this. I am considered more of a first generation. I immigrated here with my parents. I know Marcela. Were you born here, Marcela? I believe so.
First generation as well.
First generation as well. Now you're third or fourth generation, Catherine? Fourth generation. So the three of us have Latino last names. Marcela's a little bit lighter than you and I, Catherine, but it's my family. But we think differently. I don't dream in English. I go to Spanish first. You both maybe are at that stage already, that you live in the English world, but yet we still have the traditions and the ways of our families. So you have to understand exactly who you're trying to target in order for you to create that perfect message. And that is what American Dream Academy is doing.
I love that, because you summed it up so perfectly. We all may think and come from different experiences, but the experience of applying to college is very much the same. The challenges are very much the same. So when you're talking about these families that you're able to reach now, what are they expressing to you are the biggest challenges right now?
I think some of the biggest challenges that we're going to face is, and we've heard from our students, is how do I motivate as a parent? How do I motivate my child? Because their senior year may not look like what they envisioned. Because I am, we looked at the school to bring those answers, those responses, and unfortunately now the school isn't there. And we're being pointed to online services, and I just don't know how to get there. Small tips of, is it as easy of, we hosted a live session on Parent View, which we know most of our partner districts are using Parent View. So how do we help the parent understand the importance? How do they communicate? So eliminating those barriers and giving them the confidence that they need. We always share with our parents, we're not here to empower you. As a parent, you have the power. We're here to polish those skill sets, give you the confidence that you need, and be that supporting cheerleader on the end of, where do you need those answers and how do we help you? So I think some of the biggest things our parents are looking at are motivation. Where are the resources? How do I knock on these doors? Because now they're virtual doors, they're virtual opportunities. And how do we bridge that technology gap for them?
Mm-hmm. If I may add something on that, Catherine, that happened in our last broadcast that we just did, Marcela and I think is the perfect example of what is going on with these conversations and with this collaboration that we having. There was a mother that's saying, it's not if I'm going to go back to school, it's when I go back to school and I'm going to go to university. So we're instilling this dream and this possibility, not only in the parents for their kids, but there are a lot of parents, immigrants that came here looking for a better future for the American dream. And that American dream has somehow become now the dream of higher education, to have a university degree, which is amazing to hear them already speaking that way, because we emphasize, once in a while, that these opportunities are not only for the kids, but also for parents. And we know the history of immigrants. There are a lot of them that had some kind of, higher education in their native countries, but they came here and they have to go into labor. So they put that dream on the side and the back burner. Now we're able to revive the dream, and American Dream Academy is guiding them in that process too. So to me, it's very exciting to see how we're impacting all the different generations.
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because, we tend to think of the student as somebody my son's age, but the student can be the parent as well. Or, like you said, somebody who just recently came to this country looking for that university opportunity. You touch on some really great subjects. I know the one you most recently did was strategies to pay for college. I know there was a workshop on the FAFSA application, which I just did last week, and it is so cumbersome. How do you come up with the topics that you cover? Do a lot of these ideas come from the families themselves?
I think it's over our years of history and learning, and also looking at the timeline of how things are evolving, right? We sat down with Mari. Mari helps us brainstorm these ideas and say, October is really heavy on FAFSA. And so for the parents, they're not thinking FAFSA. All they're thinking is to college. So how do we then tie in all of the resources that exist for them? So we have decided on FAFSA, on scholarships, on opportunities for them to be successful. So on our end, we're looking at it as what's happening this month inside ASU, and how do we connect these resources to our families?
Okay, I want to talk about the American Dream Academy, because this is, as you mentioned, just phenomenal. It's an 8-week program that helps families prepare for their children to experience successful academic careers. Tell me a little bit more about how that works, and especially now that everything's virtual.
Yeah, I think being virtual has been a blessing, because it allows us. Before, the American Dream Academy was a school-based program. So we would come into partnership with the school, and we would host the sessions at their school site, 8 weeks long, had an introductory session, 5 core classes of content, a community forum, and a graduation. But it was at their school site. Now being virtual, that means parents can join online. So we have a Google Classroom that they can join, or we now are creating Facebook pages that they can join. And it's not limited to their school district, or if they're a partner school. As long as a parent is interested in participating, they can go through the American Dream Academy Facebook page, send a note, and we will put them into a session that would correspond to them. It's an opportunity to continue to engage, thinking outside of the box of, we know our families, our community is still hungry for knowledge. So where can we continue to take what was in traditional in-program to a virtual program for them, and meet their needs and meet them where they feel most comfortable?
You really have responded so perfectly to the situation that is happening and affecting all of us with COVID. I should mention that the American Dream Academy does have its own Facebook page with lots of great resources and tips as well. Mari, just going back to what you originally were saying in the beginning, I mean, this is really a tremendous effort that goes a long way in breaking down that idea for a lot of people and a lot of families that college isn't accessible or it's not affordable, right?
I am living my dream through American Dream Academy. And let me explain for that. Because when I created my company and I left the journalism or traditional journalism world, this is where I envision, where collaborations that we can really give the value that the community needed. One thing you need to know about our community is that you give them the resources, the education to one, you get the whole family. And when I'm talking about the whole family, it's extended family, the vecino, la suegra, everyone. So that's why I'm so passionate about this type of collaborations, because it's my dream come true. American Dream Academy is making my dream come true as we're collaborating to make the dream, the American dream, possible for so many people in our communities that have the hunger for education, for information and resources so they can better their life. In what better way to better a family life, bring them out of break the poverty line by giving them higher education resources so they can go. So we're changing our community by these collaborations. And for ASU, for American Dream Academy, to have that trust in myself and my work in our team, it's an honor. And I know we're changing life every day by the resources we are giving, we're providing. So I believe this is a great example what is need to be done. Whether you're selling a product, whether you're bringing services to the community, you really need to go through the education marketing and go to a resource that know that community. Speaking the language is not enough. We need to know the culture. We need to know how to communicate. And that is something amazing where American Dream Academy and the whole team goes the extra mile. As Marcela said, you know, I get chills every monthly meeting that we have when I hear that they've been answering phone calls Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, you know, nighttime. They understand that our community works very long hours, that sometimes it's only 1 day a week that they'll have, but they have the number, they have taken that information and they're willing to call. And for them to go the extra mile, that committed that team is to answer the calls, to give them our information. And a Sunday night, I don't know what else I can showcase for what the passion it is behind this team. So I'm very honored and very excited to be part of this.
Well, I applaud both of you for your commitment, your dedication, your excitement, and just making it possible for this education to be the key to opportunities for everyone, to make sure that everyone has access. So thank you for sharing. I do want to let people know that it's ASU in Espanol on Facebook, and it's American Dream Academy also on Facebook. And again, those are weekly broadcasts, noon on Wednesdays.
Exactly. And they're on my platform, Mary Rabago Productions. They're shared to American Dream Academy. You'll see them there either way. But the page to go for all this information is American Dream Academy, because they post so much resources and information that the community cannot afford to lose on that information. Trust me, their life will change.
Absolutely. And that's the key. Ladies, thank you so much. It's so wonderful to see you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Keep up the great work.
Gracias. We'll see you
Appreciate
soon. Thank you. Besos.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for watching Conversations with Catherine. Please remember to hit the subscribe button, like, and comment while you're here. I'll see you next time.